In this English lesson, I'll help you learn the top 5 things that kids say in English. I'm a bit of an expert on this topic because Jen and I have 5 kids. I'm sure, though, that these questions and sentences and phrases will be familiar to you. I'm sure that kids in your country say these in your language as well. I think kids around the world are very, very similar. But when you're done watching this lesson, you'll know the English version of all those common things that kids say. Number 1, are we there yet? And there's a slight variation to that question. Sometimes the question is, how much longer? This is a question that kids ask when you are on a trip. When Jen and I go on a trip with our kids, and we know it's going to take 2 hours to get there, we also know that after about 30 minutes, one of our kids will ask, are we there yet? Or how much longer? For some reason, when you go on a trip, as an adult, you understand how long it's going to take to get there, but kids are a little more impatient. So one of the things that you will hear kids ask is the question, are we there yet? Number 2, I'm bored. For some reason, kids just don't know how to entertain themselves sometimes. Our kids have lots of toys and lots of video games, but sometimes they'll come to us on a Saturday and they'll say, I'm bored. Or they might even say, there's nothing to do. That's another way of saying that you're bored. I don't know why. We've bought our kids lots of things. We live on a beautiful farm. There are many, many things to do to have an enjoyable day. But for some reason, kids get a little bit bored sometimes. And so another common thing that they'll say, I'm bored, or there's nothing to do. There's lots to do around here, though. Number 3, I'm hungry. And there's a few variations on this one too. I'm hungry. Is there anything to eat? Are there any snacks? What's for lunch? What's for supper? For some reason, kids, especially teenagers, always seem to be hungry. Jen and I spend a lot of money on groceries. We buy a lot of food for our kids to eat. And it seems that, again, especially teenagers, once you feed them, once you have lunch and they're full, you just wait about half an hour or an hour and one of them will come and say, are there any snacks? Or I'm hungry. Or is there anything to eat? So the third thing that you'll hear kids say a lot, I'm hungry, or one of the many variations. Number 4, I can't find my, and then they usually mention the thing that they can't find. And sometimes they'll ask this in the form of a question and phrase it a little bit differently. They'll say, have you seen my, and then mention the thing that they can't find. Kids lose things. This can be something that's very frustrating as a parent. You buy things for your kids and then sometimes they lose some of them. And then they come to you and they say, I can't find my glove, or I can't find my pencil, or I can't find my calculator. Or as a question, have you seen my glove? Have you seen my pencil? Have you seen my calculator? A little bit frustrating, but as a parent, I usually just try and help them find it. It's usually in an obvious spot or an obvious place, but certainly this is a very common thing for kids to say, to come to you and say, I can't find my, or have you seen my? Number 5, I don't know. Now, this is just a really short version of the sentence, I do not know. When kids talk, they like to speak quickly, and they usually just say, I don't know. When someone asks them a question and they don't know the answer to it, they say, I don't know. Maybe they're asked a question like this, who ate the last cookie? I don't know. Maybe the question is, who left the television on all night? I don't know. Maybe it's a question like this, do you need money for your class trip tomorrow to buy lunch? I don't know. It must be really nice being a kid. As an adult, I always need to know the answer to important questions. But for some reason, for kids, they just let other people take care of it, and it must be a nice life. So another common thing you'll hear kids say, I don't know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this English lesson about the top 5 things that kids say. I hope some of them brought a smile to your face when you realize that kids say the same thing in your own language quite often. If this is your first time here, don't forget to click that red subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and I hope you have a great week of English learning. Bye.